Number one, what is the central idea of the selection? So they're asking us, what's the main idea of this story? What are they talking about? Or what are they mostly talking about? Question 2. The caption is important to this selection because it blank. Again, captions are little boxes of text that you'll see next to a picture. They can sometimes be on top of it, sometimes underneath it, and in this case, on the side of it. You'll know they're a caption because it looks different from the rest of the normal text in your reading. Number 3, what is the main purpose of the map? So why did they include the map with our reading? What's it there for? Because again, when people write something, when an author writes something, everything they do has a reason. There's not something in there that just ends up by accident. Like we've seen in the writing process, people go back, they read their writing, they make sure that everything is exactly the way they want it. So if something is in there, it's not because it ended up there by accident, it's because they want it to be in there. And question 4, what is the central idea of the culture section of the passage? What are some supporting details? So that's a two-part question. Number 1, we need to pay really close attention when we get to the part of the story that says culture. And number 2, we have to make sure that not only do we give them an answer, what is it mostly talking about, but we have to show them proof. All right, let's go ahead and read our story called The Mississippi River. Size. The Mississippi River is one of the great rivers of North America. It originates in Minnesota and empties into the Gulf of Mexico. We can see on the map here, it's got a dark line that follows the Mississippi River. You can see just how far this river goes. It goes pretty far, almost entirely through the United States. It is over 2,300 miles long. At its widest point, it is over 7 miles wide. So not only is it a particularly long river, it is also pretty wide in certain parts of it. Watershed. A watershed consists of the rivers, creeks, and streams that empty into a river. The Mississippi has the 4th largest watershed in the world. Several other mighty rivers empty into the Mississippi, including Missouri River, the Ohio River, the Arkansas River, and the Red River. These rivers form the Mississippi's massive watershed. And to show you what they're talking about, I'm going to zoom in on my page just a bit. So the dark line is our Mississippi River. But if you notice, they have a lot of lighter lines that connect to that dark line. Those light lines, yeah, we're going to do 2 today. Those light lines are the watershed. It's the smaller rivers and creeks and streams that are all pouring into or opening into the Mississippi River. So the Mississippi River has a bunch of other rivers that connect to it and help to give it water. They all connect there. States and cities. The Mississippi River flows through 10 different states, including Louisiana, Mississippi, Arkansas, Tennessee, Kentucky, Missouri, Illinois, Iowa, Wisconsin, and Minnesota. Over 50 cities use water from the Mississippi for its water supply. So it's not just, some big river that people are impressed with. Like it says here, there's a lot of different places where that's where they get their water from, is the Mississippi River. So it's not important because it's big. That's part of it. It's very impressive that it's that large. But part of the reason why it's so important is because there's so many different places where that's where they get their water from. Culture. The mighty Mississippi is rich in Native American history. Many Native American cultures have lived along the banks of the Mississippi, including the Biloxi, Chickasaw, Choctaw, and many others. Europeans wrote of exploring the Mississippi. It was even the setting for one of the first American novels, The Adventures of Huckleberry Finn, written by Mark Twain in 1884. So, again, they give us more reasons why this river is important. It was very important not just to the people today, but to the Native Americans who used to live there. Many different Native Americans lived on the sides of they use the word banks, which doesn't mean like a place to keep your money in this case. This kind of bank is like the side of a river. So they would live next to the river, probably for the same reason that we have all these different cities and states that use it for water as well. The Native Americans were probably using the river as a source of water, or if they would catch fish to eat, probably for fish as well. And then we have our picture. Let me zoom in. We have our picture and we have the caption. It says the Mississippi River watershed is home to many animals, including 326 species of birds, 360 species of fish, 145 species of amphibians, and 50 species of mammals. So this river provides a home for a lot of different animals. And when they say species, like here, 326 species of birds, that means 326 different kinds of birds, 360 different kinds of fish, 145 different kinds of amphibians. Amphibians are like frogs and toads. And 50 species of mammals. So we can see another reason why it's important. There's a lot of not just people, but animals that use the Mississippi, or they depend on the Mississippi River to have a place to live or to get food from. Oh, let me actually zoom back out. Okay. Question number 1. What is the central idea of the selection? They want the main idea. What is this selection, this passage mostly talking about? A, the Mississippi River has the 4th largest watershed in the world. B, the Mississippi River flows through 10 different states. C, the Mississippi River is rich in Native American history. D, the Mississippi River is one of the great rivers of North America. Looking at those answer choices, which one do you think is the best way to describe the main idea of this story? What are they trying to get us to understand, or what are they trying to tell us? What are they mostly talking about here? Now, all of them say the Mississippi River, but look at the differences. Do they keep talking about how it has the 4th largest watershed? Do they keep talking about how it flows through different states? Do they keep talking about how it's rich in Native American history? Or do they keep talking about how it's one of the great rivers in North America? Christopher, what answer choice would you pick? Pick A, B, C, or D. B, the river flows through 10 different states. Okay. They They talk about the states it flows through, but I only see them talking about the states in this paragraph. I don't see them talking about states in paragraph 2. I don't see them talking about states in paragraph 1. I don't see them talking about states in paragraph 4. If it's going to be the central idea of the selection, the central idea of the story, it can't just show up in one part of the story and that's it. I want you to imagine when they say that they want the central idea or the main idea. That's like your main character in the story. It's the thing that you're going to focus the most on. So I want you to think about a movie, like let's say the movie Toy Story. They're the main character in Toy Story. There's two, but the main character we could say is Woody. Would the story, would the movie still make sense if we got rid of Woody? If Woody wasn't in the movie, would the story or would the movie still make sense? Now, I can see a lot of us saying no, it wouldn't. Woody's the reason a lot of that stuff happens. Now, again, he's not the only main character. There's also another one, but if you didn't have Woody, the story really wouldn't make any sense. There wouldn't be anything happening. The other main character is Buzz Lightyear. If you got rid of Buzz Lightyear from Toy Story, again, there wouldn't be much of a movie or a story to tell. The central idea, the main idea, is a lot like that. If you got rid of the main idea from this story, would it still make sense? If you took out the main idea, your story won't make any sense. But with answer choice B, if I didn't talk about the states, my story would still be fine. But it's not the main idea. What is something, one of my answer choices, that if I got rid of it, the story just wouldn't make sense, or there wouldn't be much left? The watershed. If I look and I just got rid of the watershed, that gets rid of paragraph 2. But paragraph 1 would be okay. Paragraph 3 would be okay. And so would paragraph 4. Most of my story would still be there. If I got rid of the Native American history, well, that gets rid of not even the whole part of paragraph 4. Just a part of it would be gone. I would still have the rest of paragraph 4. I would have paragraph 1 and paragraph 2 and paragraph 3. But most of my story is definitely still going to be there. If I try to get rid of them talking about how it's a great river, which means that it's big or that it's important, paragraph 1 tells me about how it's big. Paragraph 2 tells me about how it's big. Paragraph 3 tells me how it's important. Paragraph 4 tells me how it's important. So if I tried to delete any time they talk about how the river is big or how it's important, I would have to delete paragraph 1, 2, 3, and 4. Would I have much of a story left if I did that? No. Pretty much everything would be gone.
Is my camera on?
No, it's not.
Oh, thank you for warning me.
So, my main idea, my central idea, would be that it's a great river. It's one of the great rivers of America. Because again, if I got rid of everything that talked about how it was big or how it was important, I'd have nothing left. There'd be very little left in this story. Your central idea, your main idea, is something that you cannot get rid of. It has to be part of your story. It has to be part of your writing. Otherwise, it wouldn't make sense, or you'd have very, very little left. So whenever you have an idea, a question like this that asks you about central idea or main idea, think about, if I got rid of that answer choice, if whatever that answer choice says, if I got rid of it, if I deleted it or scratched it out or erased it from my story, would my story still make sense? Would there still be a lot left or not? If there's still a lot left, it's not the main idea or the central idea. If you'd have to get rid of almost everything, then that's your central idea. The other thing you could do is, if you start to see that they keep talking about one thing over and over again, in this case, the Mississippi River, every single paragraph talks about the Mississippi River. There's not a single paragraph on there that doesn't talk about the Mississippi River. That's another big clue. That is the main idea or the central idea. If they keep on talking about it over and over and over again, that tells you it's a central idea. The same way that, like in Toy Story, Woody and Buzz Lightyear are in most of the movie. There are very few parts of that movie that don't have either Woody or Buzz Lightyear in them. Very, very few. Because they're the main characters. They are the most important ones to that story. The same way that the Mississippi River, being one of the great rivers of North America, is the main point or the main idea of this story. If I got rid of that, there'd be nothing left. Question 2. The caption is important to the selection because it blank. Instead of underlining, I'm just going to draw a box around it. So remember, captions, gotta make it transparent. Captions are little boxes of text that they put next to pictures. They could be on top of the picture, they could be on the bottom of the picture, or they could be on the sides. In this case, it's on the side here. It's asking, why is this important? I'm going to go back and reread that caption just to see what they told me. The Mississippi River watershed is home to many animals, including 326 species of birds, 360 species of fish, 145 species of amphibians, and 50 species of mammals. So it's telling me about all the things that live either on the Mississippi River or next to it, or by one of the other rivers that connects to it. Let's look at our answer choice. A, is it important because it states the title of the map? B, is it important because it gives additional information about the Mississippi River watershed? C, is it important because it tells the location of the Mississippi River watershed? Or D, is it important because it describes the species of birds that live in the Mississippi River watershed? Which answer choice makes the most sense to you? A, B, C, or D? Kylie, which one do you think?
D?
D, describes the species of birds that live in the Mississippi River water. Okay? So what do they tell me about the birds in this caption? What does it tell me about the birds here? Does it describe what the birds look like, or what they eat, or what they sound like to me? No. It tells me a little bit about them, but when it says that they describe something, that means they're getting you to picture it in your head. They're telling you, what does it look like, sound like, smell like, sound like. They use their senses. So it could be, what does it look like? What does it feel like? What does it sound like? What does it taste like? What does it smell like? But they don't tell me anything about those birds. They tell me how many different kinds of birds there are, but they don't give me any information beyond that. So it's not really doing a good job of describing the birds. That leaves me with either A, B, or C. Out of those three answer choices I have left, which one seems like the best answer choice? Answer choice A, answer choice B, or answer choice. What is that caption doing? Alexa?
Wait, what? The caption?
Yeah, so this one in the red box here. Piece of text next to the
C?
C tells the location of the Mississippi River watershed. Okay, so if I go and I look at the words here, do they tell me where I can find it?
No, but they can tell you what kind of animals.
They tell me what kind of animals. Okay, so we said it doesn't tell us the species of birds. It doesn't describe them to us. It doesn't tell us the location. You said it tells me the kinds of animals, right, Alexa? So which answer choice do you think would be best? If it tells us the different kinds of animals we could find, does that tell us the title of the map? Or is that additional information about the Mississippi River water?
Additional information.
Additional information. The title of the map, if I look, I don't know if you guys noticed it earlier. The title of the map is underneath the map. So this piece of text doesn't tell me what the map is called. All it does is it gives us more information. Like you said, the kinds of animals, whether they're birds or amphibians or whatever they might be. How many different kinds of them live around the Mississippi River? What is the main purpose of the map? So instead of asking us about the whole story, they want us to focus on just this part. I want to know, why did they put the map here? And again, when we have the map, nothing ends up there by accident. It's always there on purpose. When the author decides and they're putting things together, they put the map there for a reason. What we need to look at is look at the answer choices and see which one of the answer choices tells us why or what makes the most sense for them, including the map. A, show the cities and states along the Mississippi. B, to show where the Mississippi empties into the Gulf of Mexico. C, to show the location of the Mississippi and its watershed. Or D, to show the culture of people along the Mississippi. What do you think is the reason why the author put the map there? Jadine, what do you think?
C.
C, to show the location of the Mississippi and its watershed. Okay, why do you say that?
Sorry for your background noise, but
That's
I
okay.
say that it shows like a dark going through the map, and that's for the Mississippi.
Okay. So it shows the dark line. It shows where the Mississippi is. And then what about those, the littler line? Let me zoom in a little bit. What about these lighter lines? What are these ones showing us?
I don't know.
Okay. Who can tell me? What do you think those smaller lines are? Jadine said the dark line is the Mississippi River. What are the thinner lines? Noah?
Other rivers that connect to the Mississippi River.
Okay. Other rivers that are connecting to it. So it's showing us all the places the Mississippi is getting its water from. So I agree with you, Jadine. I think answer choice C is the best answer choice they give us to show us where this is. Again, I'm not going to underline it. I'm just going to go ahead and put a box around it. Just like that. It's transparent so I can still see my map. So the map is just there to show us where the river is and where the water comes from. And the final question, what is the central idea of the culture section of the passage? So they don't want us to focus on the whole passage or the whole paragraph or really just this one whole paragraph, but not the whole story. So let's read this again. Culture. The mighty Mississippi is rich in Native American history. Many Native American cultures have lived along the banks of the Mississippi, including the Biloxi, Chickasaw, Choctaw, and many others. Europeans wrote of exploring the Mississippi. It was even the setting for one of the first American novels, The Adventures of Huckleberry Finn, written by Mark Twain in 1884. So let's look at our answer choice. Or sorry, we don't have answer choice. So let's just think about it then. What is this paragraph focusing on? We know they're talking about the Mississippi River because the whole thing was about the Mississippi. But what are they telling us about here in the last paragraph? I'm sorry to hear that, Bella. Kylie.
That many Native American cultures have lived along the banks of Mississippi.
Okay. Was the whole paragraph talking about Native American cultures or was it about other things as well?
It was about... Wait, what was the question?
We said that this paragraph tells us about Native American cultures, how they lived along the Mississippi River, right?
Yep.
But is that the only thing that the paragraph tells us about? Does it tell us about anything else besides the Native American cultures?
Yes.
Okay, what else?
The Europeans wrote about it. It was a setting of one of the first American novels.
Okay, so they told us the Native Americans lived there, right? It was important to them. They told us that it was also important. People were writing books about it, right? Okay, so for culture, was it just important to the Native Americans or was it important to other people as well? Was it just the Native Americans that thought this river was important?
No.
No. So people thought it was important, right? So it's been important to different people. That could be our central idea. The river was important to different people. So one of the people that it was important to was the Native Americans, but they weren't the only people that it was important to. We saw that people were even writing stories about it, right? Writing books about it. And that could be our supporting details. So we know that some people wrote books about it. How do we know it was important to the Native Americans? What did they tell us that lets us know it was important to the Native Americans? Alexa.
That it was one of the great rivers.
Okay. They tell us that it was one of the great rivers, but that was in the first paragraph. Remember, they're asking us about the last paragraph. So what do they tell us in the last paragraph that shows us that the river was important to the Native Americans? Noah, did you find it? What does it tell us that lets us know it's important to the Native Americans?
It says that the Native American cultures have lived there along the banks and of the Michigan.
So, that the Native Americans had lived along the banks of the Mississippi River. So when they're living next to it, why do you think it would be important, Noah?
Because if it wasn't important, why would they live there? Like if there wasn't no fish and stuff.
That's a good point. If it wasn't important, why would they choose to live there? Why wouldn't they go live somewhere else? And you brought up the point about fish. That's probably true. They lived next to that river. It was probably because they were using it for water or for fish or for something like that. They needed it for something. So that can be our text evidence or our supporting details. We can note people wrote books about it, and the Native, and let me zoom out just a little. Everything. Native American lived next to it. And instead of highlighting, what I'm actually going to do is I'm going to come up here. I'm going to find this button with the circle and the square. It says shapes. And instead of underlining, I'm going to use an arrow. I'm just going to point to where I found my answer. So that is the first page we're doing. We're going to go ahead and I'm going to give you a little bit of time so you can copy down your answers. Then we're going to go on to the next page because we didn't get to do one yesterday.